Step 2, taking stock. I don't mean like investing kind of stock, and I don't mean like beef broth kind of stock. What I mean is being honest about determining where you are right now in terms of the things you're trying to accomplish and being very clear about where you want to go in the future. It's like any other kind of journey. You can't figure out a route from here to there unless you know where here is and you know where there is. So here is where you get involved with things like maturity modeling, that sort of thing. We divvy that up onto a bunch of different levels, and we have our own really practical-minded scoring system that we use to give weight to the things that are the most important and lesser weight to the things that would be nice to have but aren't keeping us up at night, or at least not all night. But the idea is that you have to be honest, and that's very hard to do for yourself. Like a lot of things, others, like humans, other people can see things in you, or you can see in them that you can't really see in yourself, if you know what I mean. A fresh set of eyes, whether it's our eyes, somebody else's, some firm, their eyes, or even other departments, to be able to take a look at, okay, is the culture sort of open to change, or is it rigid? And any new idea is immediately deemed a bad idea. There is a lot of that in a lot of places. We run into it all the time. And it'll kill a good initiative faster even than bad technology. It's maybe a toss-up. But if you can't get the people involved, if you can't foster creativity, innovation, openness to change, you really have a long way to go. It'll be a difficult climb. Can do it. There's plenty of organizational behavior tricks and gamification. It's human psychology. So there's a lot that can be done there, but that is one of the things that comes first to mind to me. And I can tell you that when I started consulting 25 plus years ago, I used to think of that as secondary. And over the years, it's crept up to be at least as important as the technology issues and the architectural issues. And in some ways that surprised me. But it's death if it's not addressed. And so being really honest with yourself about what is the attitude of the organization, of the department, large or small scale. What is the attitude towards change? And how can we help make sure that the windows are open and the fresh air blows in and that people feel like they're part of the change? I like to put it that the things are being done for them, not to them. And that starts right on day one. There are certainly business process issues. There are issues related to collaboration, not just among people, but among systems, and yes, even the way people interact with the systems. We use the little catchphrase, it's about helping people work better and work better together. Those very often are tightly tied, but it's important to separate them. Some of it's attitudinal, some of it's technological, and you want to be able to look at what you have in place where there may be a shortfall, what tools you have. And here's the classic example. The perfect illustration is the client that has a records management system. They've just upgraded it. And as I was poking around doing what I do, I discovered they never turned on the workflow part of the system. And a lot of the issues they were having in terms of information sharing and technology silo busting was because the workflow wasn't turned on. They didn't even realize they had workflow. So we talk about doing information right, but you see how quickly it becomes enmeshed in the technology piece, which would be the next stack in our little review here, right? So we start with culture, we work through process, we work through collaboration, and we get to the technology piece. It's not an accident or a coincidence that technology is last, because to do information right, you really need to look at technology as the tool. And until you really understand the nature of the problem you're trying to solve, you can't really settle on the most effective tool, or tools, plural, to use, any more than you can understanding if you're painting a room or a house. Do I need a brush? How big a brush? Should I use a roller? How big a roller? What kind of paint? Critical to success. But you can only come up with the right answers by posing first the right questions. So the whole notion of starting with the question, where are we now and where are we going, is vital. What is the current state, as the terminology goes, of your information environment? And what does your future state look like? What do you want it to look like? And then let's start there and work our way backwards towards the current state, filling in the gaps so that we bridge smoothly from one to the other. You have to do both. And that's step 2.